All right. Happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Woodward Sports Network. Of course, your host, Adham Beydoun. Thank you for coming in. This is a special edition, Detroit Lions Q&A. Of course, brought to you by the network, myself. Thank you for Fletcher for coming out on a Saturday. And of course, we are joined by the famous Micro Mike. Mike, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. I changed my name to Mike Beydoun.
Would you marry my sister? And I don't know.
Apparently, and then she wanted to keep the last name, so
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. What's up, Mike? I'm glad you're good. Let's just get right into it. Obviously, Friday morning, everybody had their reactions. Thursday night, here we are. The Lions trade up for Jameson Williams after selecting Aidan Hutchinson, number 2 overall. At 46, they go and get an edge rusher again, Josh Paschal. Since then, they've taken Kerby Joseph, James Mitchell now today at tight end. They've traded they traded back and grabbed Malcolm Rodriguez, and they still have picks 217 and 237, which probably in the next 15-20 minutes, we'll get them up on the screen, and we'll definitely share with you who the Lions are taking. But, Mike, give me your takeaway from round one.
Round one, that Brad Holmes is being aggressive, wanting to get dynamic players. I think he understands that we never really had a face on this football team when he took it over. Who do you look at offensively and say, we got a game plan against that guy? Who do we look defensively? We got a game plan against that guy. Now we got Aidan Hutchinson. Defense has got to pay attention to the Detroit Lions defensive line. The defense is getting hungry. It's kind of getting a beast there with a face on it. Offensively, it's the same thing now. Now you got to deal with speed. We got our Tyreek Hill for a football team. A lot of concerns about the injuries when he came out and said, hey, look, I'd be ready for training camp. I think that should alleviate some concerns quite a bit. And I'm not saying he's going to be ready for week one, but it's good to see that the progress is looking good health-wise. And teams are going to have to deal with this offense now. They're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to deal with our speed at the wide receiver court last year. Trash. This year, it's much improved, and I love it. I'm really excited to see these dynamic players and see something on Sunday that's not boring.
Absolutely. Look, the Jameson Williams move, for me, this is a 2-year move in the making. Last year, obviously, Brad Holmes didn't do much to support Jared Goff from an offensive standpoint, outside of getting Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round, where people were questioning it. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown emerges. Here we are going into this draft. The bold move to go out and get a number 1 on a rookie contract instead of trading for Deebo Samuel. Yes, he has an ACL injury. I still think it's a home run. Can the player miss? Can he not work out? Sure. That is not the discussion this morning, this afternoon, in the near future. It's not about will these players hit. It is what is the GM doing to surround your football team with talent. And if Jameson Williams doesn't tear his ACL against against Georgia, he is the first wide receiver off the board, and they got him at 12. It's great value, and they traded up 20 spots for a 3rd-round pick. I can't actually believe that happened. You can call it a finesse. It's downright criminal that Brad Holmes was able to move up 20 spots in the 1st round for a 3rd-round pick. I find that to be unbelievable. So Brad Holmes making moves, I thought that was always good, Mike. All right, let's move on from round 1 for now. Josh Paschal in the 2nd round. This is a guy that I've mocked before at 34 and 66. I've mocked him going to the Lions. I didn't expect him to be picked that early. The fact that they got him at 46, I think it was one of 2 things. First, of course, that them trading up and them not having a pick till 97. I think they wanted to get the best player off of their board at 46, no matter who it was, and clearly it was Josh Paschal. This is a guy that led the SEC in pressures, the highest PFF grade coming out this year in terms of edge rushers in the SEC. And I'm going to say it one more time. He played, Mike, in the SEC. This is a guy that was playing against some of the better players in the country week in and week out. He was a big reason why Kentucky was somewhat relevant this year. I thought it was a great pick. Actually, not great. I think it's phenomenal. They double downed on 2 edge rushers. I couldn't be any happier.
Can't have enough edge rushers. And if you look what Brad Holmes is doing with the trenches, he built the offensive side with the offensive line. This year he went defensive line, and now it's looking pretty scary. You got a lot of players that can get after the quarterback and help, more importantly, stop the run, something that we're getting gassed. We were bleeding. It was terrible last year trying to stop the run, and getting a guy that can do both, big body as well, quick, can get after it, I have no problem with it, and that's what I said. I know a lot of people had issues with going to get another edge rusher, but if he's the best player available, throw him on this defensive line. That's the fastest way to get to a quarterback. We were terrible getting at a quarterback. I'm fine with the move, and like I always say before, it's going to help out the linebacking core, and it's going to help out the secondary. The quicker you get to the QB, it makes it a little bit easier for those other guys to make some plays, and we need to get some plays done, and he could be a playmaker. So I approve of the move. I have never had an issue getting after the quarterback. And look, if this guy can be like a Lee McNeil last year where you get him a little bit later and he's an impact player, I'm all about it.
I'm absolutely for it. And some of the questions in the chat, why didn't we hear of Josh Paschal? I'm not sure what you guys were reading or what TV stations you were listening to or watching or what shows you were watching here on Woodward Sports. I mean, Paschal was a name brought up, I would say, almost every time a mock draft was written. Outside of Cameron Thomas, he was my number one edge rusher on the board for the Lions at 46. I'm a big Cameron Thomas guy. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals went and got him up not too long after that. So, look, you can never go wrong with edge rushers. I think it's a great deal. The next bold move that the Lions made, Kerby Joseph, Mike. Kerby Joseph out of Illinois. This is a ball-hawking safety. Yes, Jaquan Brisker was available when Josh Paschal was there, but you know what? I love it. I love the fact that they got him at 97. This was a guy, Mike, I was thinking, you know what? Pick 66, obviously before all the trades happened. Pick 66 if you walk away with Kerby Joseph, and at 34 you get an edge rusher or a linebacker. I'm feeling pretty good about the team moving forward. Brad Holmes was able to get an edge rusher, the premier wide receiver, another edge rusher, a ball-hawking safety to go along with Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker. And now, obviously, you add the players after, but we'll forget about them for now, Mike. Kerby Joseph, I think, fantastic value at pick 97.
Favorite pick of this year's draft. This is my Amani Aworiye, a guy who should have been picked earlier, and he slid. He is a playmaking safety. He's going to be perfect opposite of Tracy Walker. The secondary just got much improved. Matter of fact, the Lions had him on a pre-draft visit. I talked about him quite a bit on my channel. He's exactly what the Lions needed. This is the best move for value of a player I felt in this year's draft, and he's going to fit right in. This secondary, don't have to deal with now Will Harris there backing up at the safety position. That instantly gets better. Now you throw Kerby Joseph in there. I'm so happy. I'm giddy about this pick. I think everybody is going to like what they see when he's on the field.
Absolutely. Again, addressing needs. Can you fix an entire roster in one draft? Likely not, but you can get 2, 3, 4 football players, and I think what they did with their first 4 picks is they got 4 football players. Aidan Hutchinson on the edge. Jameson Williams, number 1 wide receiver for the future. Josh Paschal, another edge player. And you can never go wrong with edge. Why? Because you can't tell me with a straight face that Okwara and Harris are your future. They're not part of the future. Are they 1-2 year commitments? Does this mean, actually, Mike, that they're going to slide Okwara into a linebacker role? Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is they got 4 good football players with their first 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. I think it's phenomenal. Obviously, today, Mike, let's not shy away from it. James Mitchell at tight end. Yep. TJ Hawkinson, injury history. He's missed roughly 30% of the games available to him, and he hasn't really produced at the level of, let's be honest, the tight end that's taken number 8 overall. I'm looking for 1,000 a year. And this is a guy that has never eclipsed that mark. He's never eclipsed double-digit touchdowns. Now, can he? I think we all believe in him, but he's going to have to do it, and I think getting a backup tight end, again, is it a home run pick? They don't all need to be home run picks. They just need to make sense, and getting a backup tight end, I think, makes sense.
It was a need. We need to get a backup tight end. I've been talking about this every mock draft that I did since week 4 this past season. It's really important to get that backup guy to help out Jared Goff, help out the run game, and this guy actually was a pretty good tight end before he got injured. He was actually considered to be in the 3rd round, late 2nd round, got injured, fell to the 5th round. The Detroit Lions say, we're going to take a flyer on this guy. He should be good to go regarding training camp. I love it. I absolutely like it, and it's a value pick as well. Getting a player that's going to be making an impact. I mean, it's not going to be immediate. He's not going to be T.J. Hawkinson right off rip.
And you don't need him to be.
Again, don't need him to be. We're talking about a guy who's a backup secondary number 2. He'll get open. He'll get his plays, and he'll help out T.J. Hawkinson. And if, right, like you're saying, T.J. gets hurt again, there you go.
Well, the Lions are in the hole right now. Arizona, the pick is in. On the clock after is Indianapolis and then Detroit at 2:17. So we'll keep you up to date with the picks that are going on. But here we go. This is the conversation I've been dying to have. Jared Goff, again, as somebody that criticized his play to start the year, you can't tell me that there's not an average to above average slightly quarterback in him. Is it a confidence issue? Who knows? Is it mental? Who knows? What I do know is that this is a guy that has proven he can win in the league with a above-average roster, above-average coaching, and he'll struggle without it. I think the Lions showed they're committed to Jared Goff not only for this year, but the following year, and expect next year to be the year where if they like a quarterback, Mike, they're moving all the chips onto the table to go and get their guy.
Yeah, they showed confidence in him this year, obviously, by passing up on every quarterback that was falling. He's got every chance right now to succeed. You got an offensive line that was built last year. You got some competent running backs. You got your wide receiver core. We gave you Jameson Williams. We got DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got Cephas, who's back healthy. TJ Hawkinson. We get a backup tight end as well. He has every opportunity to really show out that he could be the quarterback for the future. And if he blows out like you're saying, we got draft picks next year to jump up and get the quarterback of the future. And what's really good, too, we built this offense, so if they do draft a quarterback, if they felt Jared Goff's not the guy, who you get, that's a recipe of success. You're plopping him in a good offense. You're not plopping him into a bad offense like when Matthew Stafford was drafted. It was absolute gutter cheeks. This year, next year, if they decide to get one, it's going to be a much easier position to succeed, just like how we got 370 in the building with only 60 likes. Smash that like button. Let's get that to succeed past 100 likes. And I tell you what, if you do so, maybe, just maybe, well, Jared Goff will have a successful season. I don't know.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Jared Goff, if you can get 80%, hell, 70% of the production in his prime years with the Los Angeles Rams, you're looking at a guy that's going to throw for 4,000 yards, 28, 29, 30 touchdown passes. Give me that all day. Look, do I think he's the future? Do I think Brad Holmes would be making a mistake if he hitched his wagon long-term to Jared Goff? Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean, again, that the Detroit Lions, if the coach can get it right, if the coach is good enough, this is a football team that could win games, Mike. And the Lions, the pick is in. So I'm curious to see who they take here. Pick 217. Is it a corner? Is it a secondary player? I mean, there are rumors that, again, Brad Holmes could be looking at a safety again. He's a big Pac-12 guy. Obviously, he hasn't been. Yeah, Vernon McKinley's available. He's the 4th best player on the board right now. Mike, do you take a quarterback?
I have in
here?
my mock draft 6 picks, 6 pass defense. He's a little bit smaller, but the guy is a ball hawk. If they went this route, I'm going to be really ecstatic.
All right, quarterback here. Yes or no?
Carson Strong?
I don't want a quarterback. Even if he's there, if he's undrafted, I'll invite him to camp. But I'm not taking a quarterback with any draft pick this year. I've already signed a backup and a 3rd string. Again, Brad Holmes is all in on Jared Goff for this football season.
Do you consider Tim Boyle a backup?
No, I don't. I consider him butt cheeks, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not drafting a quarterback to be a backup either. When I make the decision on drafting a quarterback, it's a guy I believe that can develop into a starting quarterback. So we'll see what they do here. Could it be another edge rusher? I doubt it. I really doubt it. But here we are. You know what was one pick that surprised me, by the way?
What's that?
James Cook going in the 2nd round.
Interesting. Why'd that surprise you?
Because this is a guy, again, a running back position that's been undervalued. And for him to go at the end of the 2nd round was a good pickup, in my opinion, by the Bills. I just didn't expect them to be taking him in the 2nd round. I thought it was a 3rd round pick.
A lot of the running backs are actually, it seems to be not coming off the board like in recent years. We just seeing that it's not the valued position like it used to be. And this year specifically, a lot of the running backs are falling way later than you would expect.
It looks like Jackson State's James Houston, Mike, is who the Detroit Lions are selecting here. Cornerback. Interesting.
Okay.
Again, we called it. It looked like it was going to be defensive back. Sounded like they're trying to get depth. Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise me at all. Again, we had so many injuries at the cornerback position last year. Man, oh man, we're talking about Jerry Jacobs got injured. Obviously, Jeffrey Okudah got injured. Melifonwu had some injury issues. We talked about it, I think, all offseason, how the Lions were looking to get another cornerback. Doesn't surprise me at all. We don't know how these players are going to handle out throughout the whole year. Get a young corner, see if he can develop. Aaron Glenn, he's good at getting these guys and making them play well. So I approve it. I have no problem getting a corner here.
Yeah, and you know what? For everyone saying that the Detroit Lions need a backup, you can't predict injuries, and I can only go off of track record. Jared Goff has missed 5 career games. 5 in 6 full seasons. This is a guy that's played 83 games in, 6 seasons. He's only missed 5. Not bad. Not bad if you ask me.
Yeah, not too bad. Hopefully he could be good this year. Again, I want to see a whole season evaluation of Jared Goff. I got a question for you, Adam.
Yep.
What happens if he was to lead us to the playoffs and win a playoff game unexpectedly?
Well, you probably Lions fans aren't going to like this. If let's say he gets you to the playoffs and hell, you win a playoff game. I think it allows you to prolong his replacement for an additional year. So 2023, he's the starter. 2024, I could argue he's the starter. But by the latest, 2024 has to be the draft. You go all in on a new quarterback. Again, I like to think of the Detroit Lions, their trajectory towards maybe something similar to what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They were 12-4. They traded up, and they went and got Patrick Mahomes, obviously, at 10. Will the Lions be able to get that good of a quarterback? Who knows? But the point is, I don't think Jared Goff, regardless of how he performs, is the long-term quarterback. Again, unless he looks like he looked year 3 and 4 with the Rams, where he looked like a franchise guy, and then he just took a complete nosedive. It's really been unheard of to see a guy play so well and then completely fall off. And again, it could be a confidence issue. I don't know. Maybe McVay's too hard of a coach. But McVay obviously traded away 2 first-round picks and him to get rid of him. He knows something we don't.
Yeah, definitely. I really just can't wait to see, because if you look at the season last year, the first half, he looked terrible. The second half, he looked much better. Getting Josh Reynolds, getting more weapons now, you would assume it's going to start off much improved. The schedule's a little bit easier, and maybe they could do something that we didn't expect. Get to a playoff, maybe as a wild card spot. I mean, there's 7 playoff teams. I don't expect the Detroit Lions to win the NFC North, but with such good drafting, I feel like they've really done a good job this year in drafting and getting talent. It's possible they could surprise and make it to the playoffs, and who the hell knows when you get there. Doesn't matter what your record is, what you did before. It's all about winning that game, and we've become a more physical football team, a black and blue football team, and we played very hard last year against good teams. We should have won the Baltimore Ravens game. We beat up on some good teams, and it's possible. And that will be a real big issue regarding his contract. Would they extend him? Would they not?
Excuse me, James Houston is a linebacker, by the way. It's officially been announced. I'm not sure why I saw CB. I misspoke. He is a linebacker. So, again, that's the linebacker outside of the kid they got from Rodriguez out of Oklahoma State, which I guess we can jump into. A good pick, captain on the defense, productive, and again, this is just another position in the NFL. You can find talent later on in the draft at the linebacker position. There's no need to reach in the first, second, or hell, even third round.
He's a ball hawk. He's actually pretty good at coverage, third down. He had 4 interceptions, and that's something that we need in the middle of the field, is kind of control the flow of the football, since we've been getting dominated there on third down, every third down, first down, third down, first down. So it's nice to get a young guy. Do I think he's going to be a starter immediately? No. Situational, get him on special teams. But if he can help out, stop those third down plays from teams like the Green Bay Packers, we can win more football games. The third downs killed us last year, specifically in the middle of the field. So I was excited about this pick. I talked about him previously. I thought he's an underrated prospect, and the Lions got him to help out, stop on third down, and I can't be nothing but excited about that.
100%. Again, here we go. The Lions, is it a draft, Mike, where I'm going to sit here and tell you they hit every pick? Oh, look, that's not the point. I cannot tell you if a guy will work out. Am I confident that Aidan Hutchinson will be a very good football player? Yes. Jameson Williams? Yes. Having said that, at the end of the day, all I can ask my GM to do, Mike, is to improve the football team. And Brad Holmes, in his 2 drafts, has done that. In free agency, has attempted to do that. But that is not all a GM can do, right? I have to be fair. And at the end of the day, you can be somebody like Spielman in Minnesota. Nail the draft year in and year out. Get value. Justin Jefferson at 22. Dalvin Cook. You can get the players. DeAndre Hunter. Harrison's. You can get the players. Can you get the coach and the quarterback right? I think Jared Goff can win you games. If Dan Campbell is the coach everybody wants him to be, they're going to be able to win football games this year. And at the end of the day, that is how you're judged in the NFL. Nobody cares if your team tries hard. Nobody cares if your team is competitive against the good teams. Can you win football games? And we're going to find out a little glimpse of that this year. Do I expect them to go out and win 10, 11, 12 games? I don't. I still think they're early in the process. Year 3, I expect them to compete for the division. And if they can't, you're going to have to ask questions.
Going to definitely ask questions. And all you can do is get the talented players on your board and bring them on your football team. You let your coaches do the job. I feel like they've got talent. Like you're saying, did they strike everything gold? You don't know. We're not Nostradamus. We can't see the future. All you can do is judge what they've done in the past, look at the film, and kind of give an idea how they're going to be. We don't know them personally. I'm going to assume that the coaching staff and the general manager, they got to understand what type of individuals they are and get the coaches to get the best out of these players. And that's how you succeed. That's what happens. Now, injuries could occur to any of these players, and that screws it up. Just ask Jeffrey Okudah, and that could screw up the process. But all he can do right now, make the selections, give the players to Dan Campbell, and let him do his work. That's it.
Absolutely. Again, the Niners are on the clock right now. We're trying to figure out who the hell they took. Again, you want to look at this draft, how players are performing. Honestly, after day 2, Mike, for anybody to sit there and say this was a home run pick, I mean, it's pretty bold. These guys are going in the 4th, 5th, 6th round for a reason. Mike, if I remember correctly, you were on the same page with me. No Malik Willis at number 2 overall. I thought it was a complete joke. I thought it was a facade. If the Lions would have done it, I would have been very upset. I would have understood it, but I would have been very upset because I don't agree with the player's talent. I don't agree with the idea of taking a quarterback at number 2 as a project. That just doesn't happen. So talk me through Malik Willis falling out of the 1st round, out of the 2nd round, and all the way to the Titans in the 3rd round.
I was kind of shocked, I got to say, that for him to fall all the way to the 3rd round. Definitely must not be doing as good as at least the media thought he was to get out of the 2nd round and go all the way to the 3rd round. I must say, though, where he went to, the Tennessee Titans, he should be in a position to succeed. Mike Vrabel, they got a quarterback right now. He can just sit there and develop. There's going to be no rush for him to play. But this whole quarterback class, Sam Howell in the 5th round. We got players and quarterbacks that were mocked in the 1st and predominantly 2nd round, fallen way out of place. So this year, all around regarding the quarterback position, has just been completely off. And yeah, I guess a lot of evaluators thought Malik Willis is definitely not the talent that some other individuals thought.
Absolutely. We are joined by our first fan appearance, PG, in the chat. PG, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Can I get a real name? Not the username, by the way. And
my name is
could you
Perry,
also turn on his audio, please, Fletcher?
Can you hear me?
Let me know when we're good to go. You're good to go. Can I get a name?
All right. My name is Perry.
Perry, all right. My man. How are you, man?
Like Perry Drugs. I'm doing
Hell
well.
yeah.
How y'all feel? Like, as in cocaine. You know what I'm
My
saying?
man, absolutely. They did draft the cocaine. What's up?
I want to say this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Paschal pick, I hope he does well because I root for the uniform. But I was more in favor of Sam Williams if they was going to go with another defensive end out of Ole Miss. I mean, he was the SEC sack leader. Dude is an absolute dog on the line, and I think him and Hutchinson on the edges would have been absolute terror for the NFC North. Man. I'm really excited about what Brad Holmes is doing in Detroit, and I'm 47, right? So I've lived through a lot of heartache as a lifelong Lions fan. And this is, I can honestly say, the most encouraged I have been since the 91 playoffs, to be totally honest. With everybody that's come through this organization, I really had confidence that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell is going to get it right, and I'm about to go get my season tickets back.
Hell yeah. Look, I will say about Josh Paschal, he was the number 2 edge rusher available in my board, only behind Cameron Thomas. I was a big Cameron Thomas guy. But look, this is where we get into conversations of player preference. Sam Williams on your board, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to dog anybody for who they wanted at pick 46. But what I will say is I will agree with you. I'm only 28 years old. I haven't been around the block as long as you have. But I will say my dad does blame me for the Lions turnaround. 94 was their last division win. Correct me if I'm wrong. 93, 94. And I was born.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was born in 94. So he blames me for everything that's happened since. Fun fact. On a positive note, I would say Brad Holmes is the best GM the Lions have had in my lifetime. He's the most competent GM, and I've never seen the organization operate the way they have. And again, does that mean they're going to win games? They're going to win divisions, playoffs? I don't know. The coach has to coach at the end of the day, and the quarterback's going to have to play well. But all I can ask from my GM is add talent to the roster, get the head coach right, and get the quarterback right. That's it.
So now, 2 things. Now, I believe he's adding talent to the roster. The second thing you said was get the coach right. I believe in Dan Campbell. I'm a Dan Campbell guy, right? But would you agree or would you believe that if Dan Campbell isn't the guy, they will at least give Holmes the opportunity to pick the next coach, or do you believe that they're tied at the hip?
Oh, no, absolutely. You have to remember, Brad Holmes didn't hire Dan Campbell. That was a mutual decision from the Lions brass at the top. So Brad Holmes has 2 cards in the back of his pocket that he can play. 1, he's never drafted a quarterback yet, and 2, he's never selected his own head coach. So I expect if Dan Campbell, for some reason, isn't the coach long-term, Brad Holmes will outlive the quarterback and the head coach that they currently have on the roster, yeah.
So now, speaking of quarterbacks, I know you're talking about Willis and all the other quarterbacks sliding. I was listening to Holmes, and I agree with him. You know, they've been picked right about where they thought they should be picked. You know, they slide according to the mock drafts that we watching, but we don't know exactly how these individuals are evaluating the talent. And you know, the flaws in his game. I was worried that he would get drafted at some, by the line. I was thinking maybe at 32. And when they traded up though at 12, I wasn't scared of them taking Malik Willis. I thought they were about to take Jordan Davis or Devin Lloyd.
My heart dropped.
I kind of had my eye on.
Yeah, my heart dropped when they made that trade. I was having dinner, and I get a text from Corey, and I get the information a few minutes before it's showed on TV, and he says the Lions just traded up for 12. I'll let you know who they're taking in a little bit. And my heart dropped, and I yelled at my wife, "Go get the goddamn remote!" What the hell's going on? I thought it was Kyle Hamilton or Malik Willis, and I was ready to throw the table on my wife. I would have gone to jail. I wouldn't be here today. But they ended up taking, thank God, Jameson Williams. I thought it was a great move. That's the number 1 receiver on most scouts' board. Again, if he doesn't tear his ACL, it's not Garrett Wilson going at 10. It's not Drake London going at 7. It's Jameson Williams going first. And then the Lions have their selection. So I think it's a good pick. Is it a risk because of injury? Sure, fine. But the ACL is much easier to rehab in today's NFL than it was prior. So I'm on board with the trade. I think it's an A-plus move. And the NFL has shown you don't need a 6'4", 6'5", built wide receiver to be a number 1. Tyreek Hill's a number 1. You can get away with speed. Speed kills in the NFL, and I think it fits right into what Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are going to be looking to do this year.
I think so, but I guess the only reason I didn't think that they were going to pick, go that route is because they said they were looking for day 1 starters, and I know he said he's going to be ready for the start of training camp, but will he be ready opening weekend? And I know Jordan Davis and Devin Lloyd will be ready. I mean, could you imagine that, though? Aidan Hutchinson and Jordan Davis collapsing half of the line. I mean, that would have been absolutely insane. And I think with that, they would have been able to compete for the division faster, maybe even as early as next year. But I mean, I understand.
This is a team that could have won 6 football games if they had scored more than 20 points. If you look at the value chart based on pay, it is the quarterback number 1. On average salary for the top 10 position, it's quarterback number 1, it's O-lineman number 2, edge rusher number 3, and you kind of get the trend where it's wide receiver at 4, and then it's linebacker at 5, and then we get to the interior lineman at 6, and I would have been very upset if it was moving up 32, 34, and 66 for an interior lineman when you could have taken Travis Jones at 32. You could have gone somewhere else on the interior line if that's what they were looking for. But clearly that was not on Brad Holmes' agenda, which I appreciated. I think the wide receiver is very important. You got to get Jared Goff in a position to succeed. So, Perry, I think they hit a home run in the first round. That's what I'd give them.
I think it's very possible that they did, and I think you're going to get everything you need to know about Jared Goff in this coming season. At least, I would say by October, even if he's not ready
give me your prediction for the year, Perry. Give me a lowest win total and the highest win total right now after the draft that you think they're going to pull off.
Well, I'm gonna give you a before and after. Even before the draft, it was my thought that he could not win fewer than 6 or 7 games. I mean, that was like the absolute floor next season. But I'm really excited, man, with the new additions that they made. This offense has the opportunity really to be, kind of special if Jared Goff can maintain what he did for the last month of the season. So I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna be conservative, man, because I don't want to sound like the old, Lion Slappy. Because I've had those highs and disappointments before, but I think honestly, man, they should win. They should win at least 9 games next season. 8, 9 games at the very least.
All right. I'm on board with it. Perry. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate you coming in, man. Love to see it, and congratulations. Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I just want to let you know I listen to y'all every morning.
Thank you.
And so even with the bricks coming in, hey, you got to keep it off the brothers like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't bring too much heat. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and I will say this, man. I love you, Adam. You know what I'm saying? But you get me kind of worried. You know what I'm saying? Because they might be tapping your phones. You know what I'm saying?
They already are. Believe me, I know. One day I'll get arrested or killed. It's all good. It's worth it. Appreciate it, Perry.
Man. Yeah.
Oh man, that was funny, Mike.
That was definitely funny, man. You got your phones tapped. People are coming for you, man.
It's all good. I don't mind it at all. But here we go. I mean, another 6 to 9 win. I think that's the consensus with most Lions fans. Maybe a bit aggressive or conservative. I mean, it depends how you feel about the situation. But look, forget if the team is healthy. I don't want to play the if game. But what is the expectation? I think it's clear 6 to 9 wins. I think anything under 6 would be quite embarrassing. I'll put it that way. 5-12 to me would be, I'd start questioning the head coach. And I don't want to have to do that, right? I want the head coach to work out because ideally you don't have to fire people. But in this business, it's a win-loss business. And if they can't show improvement this year with the talent they've added in the draft, and that doesn't include the players that are still available in free agency, players that will go undrafted that could make an impact. This is just how the league works. Brad Holmes has given Dan Campbell talent. It's time for him to go out and at least put out a decent product.
You get 5 wins or below that, that's an epic fail. You cannot have that happen. Too many years of not showing a big improvement with the talent that we drafted in this year's draft, getting DJ Chark. You have to show that you can at least get to 7 to 8 wins. You have to show improvement. And with the schedule is much easier, I feel, this year than it was last year. Last year, it was grueling, and we're talking about we were in a lot of games against good football teams. So if you can't pull off 7 to 8 wins, it should be an embarrassment to all the fans. It should be an embarrassment to everybody because that'd be a disgrace. And yes, I think you'd have to make some questions right there. How is it possible to not get to at least 7 to 8 wins with the talent. The offense has talent. You're just talking about how we needed a wide receiver. That's 100% true. Now we got it, and it's going to open it up for all the other receivers, in which then the defense gets a little bit of break because the offense is moving. You'll be able to run the football with the receivers. The offensive line is stout. And now the defensive line is stout. You have to win. If you can't win 7 to 8 games with this talent, this schedule, there's some issues there, and there's people going to have to say something.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, my goal, my objective for the foreseeable future, however long I'm alive and I'm around talking sports, my objective with the Detroit Lions and their fan base is to increase expectations. Increase how, and again, not Kool-Aid, not, oh my God, Mike, we're going to win games. No, like, hold people accountable. And I think that's what you have right now in the front office. Do I think the coach could be a top 5, top 10 coach? I don't know. He didn't show me much last year. The first 10 games of the year, it seemed like they were just getting in their own way most of the time. And losing games, you got to try really hard to lose them, and they lost them. So they did show positive glimpses down the stretch. Am I all in? Do I believe this is the future of the NFL? This guy, and I'm talking about Dan Campbell here, he can be the future? I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I look at the Lions' history. When have they had an executive that was well represented and respected in the NFL? I believe they have that now in Brad Holmes. When was the last time they had a well-respected Hall of Fame potential head coach? That's never really happened. Mariucci was gone before he even said hi. So that to me is the next step for this team. Can they bring in the head coach? And if it's in the building and the guy's there right now, great. But those are questions that are going to have to be answered in the near future.
And we got what was really good about our coaches and our head coach is Dan Campbell surrounded himself with really quality coaches. Aaron Glenn, getting a guy who's played before, and he's got his coaches that's played before. We got a lot of former players. It's individuals that understand what the players are going through, and the players can respect that. With the previous regime, there was no respect towards Pat Matricia. The guy was a buffoon. He was terrible. He didn't know how to coach. He was a dictator. And now we're getting coaches who's played the game, respected, understands the shoes that these players have been in, and as we've seen, getting the best out of players. We're talking about a Jerry Jacobs undrafted free agent looking like a stud. Melifonwu, 5th-round pick, looking pretty good when he was on the field. Aleem McNeil, pretty good, really good. I like what I saw there. Penei Sewell, looking like a stud. So the coaches are getting the talent out of the players. I was talking with Herman Moore just a couple days ago how when players come to Detroit in years past, that would be the height of their talent. They would get here, you want to see a whole lot of improvement besides selected players like a Megatron. Now players come to Detroit, the coaches are getting the best out of them, putting them in the positions to succeed and getting better results, more output of their strengths.
Absolutely. Well, we are now joined by Bryant. Bryant, how are you doing this evening? What questions do you got, buddy?
I'm doing well. I just want to know, who do you think in this draft has won as far as teams go, at least top 3?
My top 3 would be the Baltimore Ravens, Detroit Lions, and the New York Jets. Those would be my top 3.
I would agree with the New York Jets for sure. And then other thoughts on Malcolm Rodriguez, that linebacker pick.
Yeah, Malcolm is an interesting player, a team captain for Oklahoma State, a guy that was all over the field, pretty quick. Everybody knew the Lions needed a linebacker, whether it was at the 2nd round, the 3rd round, 4th round. They ended up getting him in round 6. Yeah, no problem. Totally okay with it. Damon Clark went, I believe, the pick before James Mitchell. If he was on the board, I would have expected the Lions to take a chance on him. But look, linebacker is a position that you can find value later on in the draft, just like the safety position. So I'm glad Kerby Joseph at 97 is a great selection. And I think Malcolm Rodriguez, you're not going to be mad if by week 4, week 5, he sucks and can't play a lick because he was a 6th-round draft pick.
Right. Right, right. No, I agree. But he's also a converted safety. I saw that. So, I mean, that's position versatility there, and he can fly around the field.
Yeah, he's very quick. He is quick. I don't expect them to use him in that role. Expect him to be more of a pass coverage linebacker. And again,
Right, but down in
6th-round
the
draft pick.
box.
Yep, a 6th-round draft pick. This is a guy that could cover tight ends, a guy that could maybe cover somebody in the slot. I doubt it, but this is a good pick. I think Brad Holmes has done a good job addressing needs.
Absolutely. And then James Houston I saw as a Florida transfer. So there's another SEC talent.
Yeah, again, the board is a lot of talent, a lot of players that fell. And again, James Mitchell, somebody, he doesn't tear his ACL, he doesn't fall. Malcolm Rodriguez, interesting that he fell all the way to the 6th round. Same with a lot of these players. Now James Houston. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is an unbelievable pick. Oh my goodness, another steal.
Right.
But I think we're starting to see the trend here. Brad Holmes is looking for talent, and he believes the coaches in the building can develop that talent.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I've never been more confident in a GM.
Awesome. You got anything else for me or Mike?
No, just shout out to Russell Brown and you for nailing these picks, man. Russell Brown, go green. And
Hell yeah.
Just have a good day, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Can't thank you enough. I'll drop some more links in the chat for everybody to join. Mike, he brought up Malcolm Rodriguez. Again, versatile, pass coverage linebacker. I think that's something this team is going to need. But can Jared Davis, and are they relying a bit too much on Jared Davis to be a run-stopping linebacker here?
Yeah, I think he's the misguided missile. I'm a little bit worried about the Jared Davis pickup, but I do like the fact that they went linebacker twice. We need competition in the linebacking room. Let the best man win. That's what we got to do here. I don't care if you're picked early or if you're picked as an undrafted rookie. Get these linebackers, let them compete, and let the best men win. Because like you're just saying with Jared Davis, look, can you rely on this guy to stop the run and make a lot of plays at linebacker? I have my doubts. I definitely do.
Absolutely. We'll throw more wow, tongue twister. We'll throw more caller links in the chat. We'll get Drew Claiborne up next. But Mike, my question to you. This happens every year, right? The extreme hopium optimism that comes with the NFL draft. I've really slept on it for a few days now. I've collected my thoughts. I don't think I'm being overly positive or optimistic. I think what I'm doing is being fair. And I think it's very fair to say Brad Holmes, unlike most, if not all GMs outside of Schmidt in the 80s and 90s, this is a guy that's finding talent at spots nobody's expecting him to find. And again, has anybody or did anybody have it booked or rumored that the Lions were interested in trading up for a number 1 wide receiver? I love that the team is unpredictable. That's a good sign for our front office.
Oh, I love the unpredictability of this front office. Like you were saying, I had no idea. Coming into this draft, it's like they can go multi-ways. Now, if you look at Quinn Trisha and what they did, it seemed like everybody knew exactly what they're going to do. And I do like the fact that sometimes I'm going to take a little bit of risk. If I got to trade up to get a player, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my name on it because I want to get a dynamic player. And could it strike out? Yes. But if he hits it and it's a grand slam, it can set this franchise in a great direction going forward because we need dynamic players. And in this draft, you heard many franchises, the rumors were that there was maybe 15 players that they had first-round grades on. And a lot of the other players would be second and the third round. And we're seeing a lot of people get pushed back because of that. So Brad Holmes said, you know what? I have a first-round grade on this guy. He's my number 1 wide receiver, and like everybody else said, he was a number 1 before he got injured. I'm going to jump in, and if all I got to do is basically swap it to and give a third-round pick to the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to do it. I don't know about you. I felt like we definitely destroyed the Vikings on this trade. I think that's something they're going to have to deal with because if Jameson Williams works out, they're the team that gave us him. So I'm liking the direction. I'm being fair as well. I'm not drinking the hopium. I'm not smoking some good stuff. That's not happening here. I'm just looking at it and say, okay, we got the best edge rusher by all standards. We got the best wide receiver by all standards. We get another good edge rusher by all standards. I mean, it's good, and we're hitting needs. Kerby Joseph was a massive grand slam. That guy should have went earlier, and it was a need at safety. Need to get a backup tight end. Need to get some linebackers. So it's a great draft. I have no issues with what's going on right now.
I'm on board with you, pretty much word for word on that. What I would say is it's very important to understand what Brad Holmes is telling every single one of you at home. What Brad Holmes is telling you is that not only does he believe in Jared Goff, but he believes Jared Goff could at least buy him time to go all in on a quarterback. Brad Holmes said specifically that where the quarterbacks landed in this year's draft class is where he expected them to. Now, if that doesn't tell you I wasn't sold on any of them, I don't know what else to tell all of you. And Mike, I've been very vulgar. I say things maybe that are rude, but, I'll never apologize for it. All the Malik Willis people at number 2 overall can suck my dick this morning. Well, it's not the morning. I'm so used to talking in the morning. I got to stop saying this morning. This evening, on a Saturday evening, suck my dick. It's that simple. I can't believe these quote-unquote local experts, writers, contributors, tried to dupe this fan base into thinking a quarterback that last year wouldn't have gone in the first, second, or even third round was worthy of the number 2 overall pick. And I don't know if you have a chance to, if you caught up with my Twitter, but did you see the Malik Willis video of him, very emotional, saying, "You're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret this," or whatever it was. I don't know what the hell he said. I dubbed in, and my takeaway, my lip reading skills, what I heard from him is he was very adamant. I wasn't the number 2 overall pick. I wasn't good enough. That's what I heard.
Yeah, if that's what he was thinking, look, obviously it's not just the team, the Tennessee Titans, that picked you. Every team passed you up multiple times. Basically. Multiple times. So yeah, it could be a regret. Absolutely. We don't know the projections of these players, but if you were to take Malik Willis, say you took him and he busts out and does terrible, Brad Holmes is going to lose his job at some point down the road. That's a fact. If he does great, it's the opposite. It's like you missed out on another player,
but did
like
they?
A Justin Herbert. But
did they? Because every team in the NFL passed on this guy. Every team let you know how they felt about him. Every team told you to your face, you're wrong. He's not a first-round talent. Hell, he's not a second-round talent. People bring up Russell Wilson. Well, if you would have redrafted that one, Russell Wilson would have gone in the first round. He had a grade that was fair for him coming out of college. He hadn't proven anything. He was undersized, and he turned out to be one of the outliers. He worked out. Congratulations. At 6 foot, is Malik Willis the next Lamar Jackson? Russell Wilson, hybrid? I don't believe so. I just don't. I can't believe they tried selling us on him at number 2. And again, these are credentialed media members who are inside of Allen Park, spreading information that is nothing but bogus. Shame on them, Mike. Shame on them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good local reporters as well. Jeff Risdon, one of my guys.
Risdon's the man.
Yeah, he lives a mile from me. He was telling exactly what was going to take place, pretty much for sure, that the Lions were not going quarterback. We've been saying it on my channel. Whether you like Malik Willis or not, or if you like another quarterback, they weren't going to go quarterback. It was clear as day. Jared Goff came here, and he was going to give it an opportunity to be the guy this year and surround himself with talent. We had a ton of holes. They wanted to fill these holes first. It was clear as day. Yes, media outlets kept saying we're going to take a quarterback, and then locally, yourself and myself and a lot of other people say, no, it's not going to happen. They're probably going to go edge rusher, and they're going to go get after the quarterback. I don't know what they're smoking. That's not what's going to take place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am very, very optimistic in terms of the talent this team will acquire over the next 2-3 years. And you know what? Whether people want to hear it or not, the reality is in the NFL, you can turn it around pretty quickly if you got 3 things: a GM, a head coach, and a quarterback. I can tell you with confidence this evening, they've got the GM. Do they've got the quarterback? No. They have a bridge quarterback, but I see that Mike Vrabel can win 13 games with Ryan Tannehill. So if you get me a Mike Vrabel, and Dan Campbell can be one of the top 8, top 10, top 12 coaches in the league, well, then you're going to have a very successful football product. So I don't think the team is far away from being at least good. Can they be special? Can they be great? Can they be a decade-long dominant football franchise? No, not with what they have right now, given the head coach is unproven, and I think we all believe Jared Goff is not a franchise quarterback.
Did the Detroit Lions get better these past couple days than they were last year? That'd be a question I'd ask to everybody in the chat. Do you think they got better? Do you think they got better on the defensive line? Do you think they got better at linebacker? Do you think they got better in the secondary? On offense? Yeah, they got better. We went into last year with terrible wide receivers, folks. Talking about Williams, Perryman, we got Khalif Raymond, he's going to be the guy. It was awful. We all knew it. Now you come into this season, we got DJ Shark, we got Jameson Williams, we got Cephas fully healthy. It's getting better through talent. It's through talent acquisition. Brad Holmes has done that. That's why he's succeeding. It is working right now, getting the talent. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I love what I'm seeing from Brad Holmes. Like you're saying, I think we got our GM. Do we have our coach? I think we do, but it's yet to be seen. We got to see victories. We got to see wins. That's the next step. Talent, get better, wins, go forward to next year, compete for the NFC North. That's the kind of the timeline I had.
Absolutely. Again, love Joseph and 97. So happy about that pick. What I will say to all of you at home, drop your mentions at me or Mike in the chat. If you want to ask us questions, you can do it through the chat, or you could call in. I'll give you a code for you to video call in if you'd like to chat with me and Mike. And if you do, make sure you come with good questions. Do we have somebody on the line? It should be Jack or Rumble. If not, we'll wait a little bit. Question from Discipler. Adam, all the quarterbacks were taken by other teams, and I am stoked by what this team did in the draft. I agree 1,000%. Nay to a quarterback, whether you like him or not. I don't like Jared Goff. I just don't. But I can accept the reality that he's no scrub, that he is a middle-of-the-pack, average quarterback at best. He had ceiling. He had a potential of a franchise guy early on with the Rams. But the last 3 years, let's be honest, he's looked rough. And if that's the guy I'm getting, I can live with it knowing that, you know what? Ryan Tannehill's winning games. Baker Mayfield won games. This guy can win me football games if I have the head coach in the building and I've got talent. And I think the Lions are starting to compound talent. I think back-to-back drafts where they've added good decisions and good talent, and that's all you can ask from Brad Holmes. So here we are. This is the situation you're in, Mike. Moving forward, the guy to my right and the guy to my left, those are 10-year players ideally. And if both of them work out, Lions fans are going to be happy for a long time.
Yeah, are you going to care, a couple years from now that you traded up to get Jameson Williams, end up being a number one guy, making big-time plays, highlights, winning football games, 50-yard passes, destroying defensive backs with his outstanding route running? Is anyone going to care then? No,
and is
not
anybody
at all.
going to care if one of them miss? If I told you Aidan Hutchinson was a complete bust, but Josh Paschal worked out and he's an 8.5, 9, 10 sack a year guy, you would not care. Why? At the end of the day, what did you do at the moment and time of the draft? If anybody is actually sitting here and telling you the Lions messed up, they took Aidan Hutchinson and Jameson Williams, well, you know what? These people are the scum of the earth, and I'll tell you why. Because they're not looking at it objectively. Aidan Hutchinson was the number one player on 29 of the 32 teams' boards in the NFL. Jameson Williams was the number 1 or 2 wide receiver going into most teams' boards this year, including after his injury. And the Lions were able to get both at picks 2 and 12. That is phenomenal value. Who are we joined by? Throw them up on the screen. Who do we have the pleasure of Rumble, of course. Rumble, how are you doing, man? Hope you're well. What do you got for us today?
My question is, we keep speaking on the intangibles of this team and the linebacker situation where we think we're weak at. So, do you guys see any of the defensive linemen being converted to linebacker? Do you see any of that? Do you see anything where it's they're going to flip those guys.
I personally, Mike, I'll let you answer real quickly if you want to. I think Aquara could be the one that's on the move.
Yeah,
it could be even Paschal could play hybrid. I mean, he's a quick guy. He's a little big. It wouldn't surprise me if they lined him up maybe 10-15% of the snaps in a linebacker position. But if I were to bet my money, Mike and Rumble, it would be on Aquara to move. What do you think, Mike?
100% agree with you. If they're going to do that, it would definitely be Aquara. That would be the guy. He's the tweener. I think he could do that for sure. If they want him to do that, this is kind of a hybrid defense sometimes, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if you start to see stuff like that taking place on Sundays.
Man,
Absolutely.
I'm what a great draft. What a great time to be a Lions fan. I'm thoroughly impressed with just the moves we made. I was skeptical about the trade up because I didn't know who they were going to get, but when they got the fastest wide receiver, I just hope Goff has enough arm strength to get it to him. That's my only...
that is a myth, by the way. I would like to address as somebody that is has been very critical of Jared Goff. During his time in LA, he made all those throws. This was a 4,500-yard, 30-plus touchdown guy. If we all remember the famous Monday night game against Patrick Mahomes, the dude can throw the football. That is not an issue. Is it a confidence issue? Has he regressed mechanically? There's a lot of things wrong with Jared Goff. That's why he is who he is. That's why they traded away 2 first-round picks to get rid of him. So...
Ouch.
It is rough. It's tough to see. Can he make the throws? Yes. Can he make them consistently? Can he wow you like a Herbert, a Burrow, Kyler Murray even, Patrick Mahomes? No, he can't. And I don't expect that. And if anybody does expect that, I think they're setting themselves up for failure. If Jared Goff can get me 38 to 4,200 yards this year, 26-plus touchdowns, 11, 12 interceptions at the most, I'm going to be looking at you and saying this should be an 8-9 win football team.
Yeah, I agree. And do you think the Vikings threw in the towel for this season?
I don't. You know what? I had the Vikings as my division winners before the draft. I thought at number 12.
But trade picks. I know.
I can't believe it. At number 12, I thought they were going to walk away with Kyle Hamilton, possibly Sauce Gardner if he fell, but he didn't. Obviously, I couldn't believe what the Vikings are doing. I think O'Connell is going to unlock something special in that offense. My concern with the Vikings, look, they got Lewis Seen. They addressed some of their draft needs, but at the end of the day, the division, you want to go with the teams that have always proven they compete for the division, and that's the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, although I think the Packers are doing an awful job. But look, they've addressed the defense, and that has been Minnesota's biggest issue. They got Lewis Seen. They went and got Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson. They got an offensive lineman in Ed Ingram. They went and got Brian Asamoah at pick 66, which Lions fans would have been happy with. So they took the Lions pick, and they got a good linebacker, and then they followed it up with more secondary and interior linemen. And Ty Chandler, this is a team that I didn't think regressed. Did I think they got fleeced? Absolutely. But my money would still be on the Vikings. I think the Packers fall off. And don't be surprised if the Lions finish second in the division this year.
I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that.
When I see the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, it reminds me of that scene in Draft Day where he calls up the young general manager the first year and he fleeces him. It kind of feels like what's going on over there.
Absolutely. The Lions just took Chase Lucas, cornerback out of Arizona, 2017 and 2020, second team All Pac-12. Very interesting.
So another question real quick. What does this say about our coaching staff? Do you think they're going to be cohesive and stick around for the long run?
I believe
one or two of them.
I don't have to believe in Dan Campbell, right? I can have my own opinion on him, but what I would say is I believe alongside Brad Holmes that there is coaching in the building that can grow talent, that can raise them, nurture the talent. I think it's there. Is there a cerebral head coach that can guide this team to a dynasty, not even a dynasty, division wins, multiple divisions, multiple playoff wins, 10 years of good football? That's to be determined. I don't know if Dan Campbell, I don't think he is that. I hope he is, and I hope I'm dead wrong. But at least in the building, I can acknowledge there are coaches that can grow and prop up talent. I think we saw that last year.
Right. So we think Aaron Glenn's going to stick around? Do we think?
I think he sticks around for a third year, but if the Lions come out this year and they have a top 13 defense, that guy's getting a job offer. He is.
Yeah, I agree. And I would want that. I think, that's something I would like to see. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much, man.
Absolutely, Rumble. Thanks for hopping on,
weekend, man. It's and thank you, Woodward Sports, man. You guys have been killing it, man. The first night was absolutely incredible, man. And Micro Mike, you of course, man. Hey, keep roaring, guys. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it,
Rumble. Oh man, Mike, I love Rumble. He's a good guy. Interesting. Here we are again. The Lions, I believe that's their last pick of the draft, by the way. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that is their final pick that they have on the board, unless they trade up, which it's a 7th round. I don't expect that.
Man. Don't be trading up for that, man.
Oh God! Again, Brad Holmes has done a good job bringing talent at needs that this team has and you want. Was the quarterback addressed? No, you didn't need to. And I have 2 middle fingers, Mike, for everybody that said the Rams winning would affect this football team and their ability to grow and bring in talent. This is for all of those people, by the way. Shout out to every single one of you. You know who you are. You know who you are. Congratulations. You get 2 middle fingers from me today. Mike, this team moving forward, the talent is starting to come along, starting to feel really good about who they're bringing in, how they're operating as a front office. The product, we'll have to wait and see how it looks like on the field. But again, a young Ben Johnson. Jared Goff looked good down the stretch with Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell in charge. What do you see this offense looking like with a healthy Jameson Williams?
I see this offense that could be probably a top 12 offense if Jameson Williams is healthy. Again, we got wide receivers in DJ Shark. You're talking about that guy. You're talking about Jameson Williams on the opposite side. Amon-Ra St. Brown doing the middle. He's tearing it up. Cephas, before he got injured, was doing really good. That's not bad at all. Of course, you got Josh Reynolds who came in. So you got your wide receivers set. TJ Hawkinson comes back healthy. It's going to open it up for him with those wide receivers. We got a number 2 tight end in this year's draft. We got a very good offensive line. Should be top 5. We got some good running backs, and now with the wide receivers, it's going to open up the lanes for the running backs for DeAndre Swift, for Reynolds to eat up, and Williams to slow down that clock if we're ahead in the 4th quarter. That's the most important thing, folks. When you do have an offense, and if you're ahead, what do you do in the 4th quarter when you're ahead? It's easy. Run the football, kill the clock. Top 5 offensive line, big back and Williams. You got Reynolds, and you got Swift. You run the football. I think last year what hurt us a little bit is our defense was bad, and our offense had to kind of get away from the run a little bit and had to throw the football. We could never really sustain leads in the 4th quarter. So what did Brad Holmes do, folks? Well, predominantly defense in this year's draft. I think we got 2 offensive players and the rest defense, a couple linebackers, got a cornerback, got 2 edges. That's what happened. Build the defense, get leads, run the football, win games without having to do a comeback.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of concern, rightly so, with Jared Goff at quarterback. Question coming in from Zeke. What would it take for Jared Goff to be the future quarterback, or what would it take in terms of performance for him to establish himself as the future instead of a bridge? Mike, I have a very simple answer. I do want to hear your thoughts. My answer would be nothing. He could go out and throw 40 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Okay, maybe not that. Let's be real. Yeah, but I think I'm making my point. I just don't see it. Where the NFL is going is you're looking for strong arm, big-bodied quarterbacks, pocket quarterbacks first and foremost, that have slight mobility where they can pivot, maneuver around the pocket, get outside, make some throws, yes, on the run, but that isn't, they live and die inside of the pocket. I think that has always been how quarterbacks operate. I don't think Jared Goff could ever be that. He's shown glimpses, in Los Angeles. I just don't see it, Mike. I just don't see it.
For the long-term future to be the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford, to be the guy to lead the Detroit Lions to glory, he would have to do a lot. I mean, like you're saying, 40-some touchdowns and 6 interceptions. To me, that would have to be it. And win a playoff game this year. If you win a playoff game, your stats is looking great. Your efficiency, your QBR, your ranking, everything is looking good. I would consider it, but I'm with you. I just got that gut feeling. that he's not the guy, the future to take this team to the glory. I think we need to have a quarterback kind of like what the Cincinnati Bengals did with Joe Burrow. They got that guy, that swag, who came into a team that's been perennially bad, took it over, and starts winning. He's got that it factor, the it. Does Jared Goff have that it?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
Well, let's look ahead to the quarterback class next season. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, obviously at the top. Outside of those two, is there anybody that is catching your eye early? Obviously, Slav is out now in Pittsburgh after the transfer. Will Levis out of Kentucky. I don't think there's... I don't want to say it's underwhelming. I just would say it's not a deep class. And with not a deep class and two guys at the top, expect Seattle and Atlanta to have the worst record in football this year. And I don't think they're going to make a trade with the Lions at 1, 2, or 3, where the Lions could go and get a C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young.
Man, it's hard to look at the future of next year's quarterback class, because if we were this time last year, people would say Sam Howell, he's a top 10 pick. Well, this guy just went way late in the draft, so it's hard for me to really judge quarterbacks right now. I want to see what they do this season. Could a guy jump up and be like a Joe Burrow, come out of nowhere, become the first pick in the draft? It's possible. It is. We got Desmond Ridder last year this time. We thought this guy was a top 10 pick. He had to go transfer, go to another school, and try to make a comeback, because he wouldn't have went probably at all in this draft the way he performed. He'd have been an undrafted rookie. So I'd just wait and see what they do in college first before really making any judgment on the quarterback class. But I kind of with you, it's a little bit underwhelming.
Fair enough. Fair enough, guys. If you want to get your questions in the chat, now is the time to do it. Should be wrapping up pretty soon. Any questions you have on the Lions, the draft, anything moving forward, make sure you ask myself or Mike. Speaking of Spencer Rattler, that's a great point. It's a great point. A guy that completely fell off was the number one guy, and you know, if he would have entered this year, probably doesn't get drafted. Maybe 6th, 7th round. It's super, super interesting to see where the quarterback market will be. Again, for all of you that held your hat on Malik Willis, number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions, over players like Kayvon Thibodeau, Aidan Hutchinson, I have nothing nice to say to you. And I won't say anything nice to you. Fuck you, actually, to be honest. You caused sleepless nights for no reason. Even the Kyle Hamilton people. Fuck you too. Fuck all you Kyle Hamilton to the Detroit Lions at number 2 people. Sorry, Mike, I'm going after people right now. I don't mean to get you up in the crossfire, but this needed to be addressed. I can't believe. And again, there could be the idea that maybe Lions fans are programmed to think the worst, and that's why they thought this could happen. Fuck that. That is horrible. I vehemently I am against the idea ever of taking a safety at number 2 overall. How dare you ether that into the world? Mike, am I being a bit too mean?
Well, that's the type of person you are, folks. He is the guy that likes to get after it, so being too mean is something that doesn't occur a whole lot. He enjoys the effing right there for sure. But Aidan Hutchinson was my guy. He was my number 1 guy, so I'm not going to complain at all that we didn't get Kyle Hamilton. When you got Aidan Hutchinson, I'm happy, and I'm happy that you're not doing the effing to me, because I tell you what, man, look, I played wide receiver, and I don't have a tight end, man. I don't want it to get loose.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. I will say, I will specify who I am giving the fuck yous to. Corey Woods, unfortunately, is in the crossfire. He doesn't get it as bad as some of the other guys. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the people on the Twitter who write a blog, you know these people. I don't need to mention them. Obviously, at our own network, Ryan Armani, even obviously Tom Mazaway, they get big fuck yous from me. Anybody that believed Kyle Hamilton or Malik Willis would have been the right pick. Hell, even Jordan Davis, Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis, if you thought that was a franchise-changing moment, a franchise-changing player, the right move for the Detroit Lions, fuck you. Never talk to me ever again. All right, good. I'm glad
And make
I
sure
got
you
that off
hit
my
that
chest.
like button if you did say that as well. Let's get those likes to 300. If you were one of those guys, let's get it to 300. Come on, show some love.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some people in the chat, Kyle Hamilton is literally in Baltimore. He will be the next Ed Reed. I will screenshot that. I would love to see that. I think Kerby Joseph, and I could argue even Nick Cross, could be just as good of a safety in the NFL as Kyle Hamilton. This unbelievable nonsense of he's the next Ed Reed. Do you not understand who that is? Ed Reed is the most gifted safety mentally to ever exist. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick struggled to go up against him, and when they played the Ravens, all they thought of was Ed Reed. If you actually think a college player could develop into Ed Reed, good for you. I don't know what you're seeing. I am definitely not seeing it. And if you're right and I'm wrong, I will be here ready to tell you I was wrong. But I can guarantee you he is not the next Ed Reed. That is quite that is quite the statement. Unbelievable. Having said that, Mike, let's move off of the fuck yous for everybody. Mm-hmm. Let's turn the page on the book a little bit. There is one underrated aspect of this draft that I believe is not being talked about enough, and that is the selection of Josh Paschal. It's actually come with a lot of criticism, more so than praise. This is the guy with the highest PFF grade coming out of college in the SEC at his position, 101 career pressures, a guy that turned Kentucky into a legitimate program this past season. Sign me up for the Josh Paschal train. I thought this was a guy they would have gone for at 66. I had him in one of my mocks at 41 or 47 with a trade. This is a guy I was always high on. Outside of Cameron Thomas, there is nobody at edge I would have preferred the Lions to take outside of Josh Paschal.
Yeah, a lot of people were not happy about that draft pick there. I had no problem with it. I thought it was, look, you're just trying to get the best player available at a position where we need help at. If you looked at our pass rush last year, it was trash rush. It was horrible. There's nothing wrong with getting him. Paschal, you're going to get Aidan Hutchinson, you're going to get the Akwara brothers, get after the quarterback. What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. I have no issue with that. How do you win football games, folks? Do you want Aaron Rodgers to stand in the pocket and just, hey, I'm going to throw football every single time, get a touchdown? That's what's going to happen. Let's just continue to not address the biggest issue for the Detroit Lions. Let's just continue to look other ways and not worry about getting pass rush to stop these guys from wreaking havoc on our defense.
Who would you say had the worst draft out of any team in the NFL?
The worst draft out of the whole NFL. My God. Look, I look at the Minnesota Vikings. I just think the constantly trading back, I think kind of hurt their team.
Even
I know
though they got some good players?
They got some good players, 100%. But I hate the Minnesota Vikings.
That's very true. You know what? I will give credit, by the way, to the Kansas City Chiefs. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Sky Moore, Brian Cook in the first two rounds. They did a hell of a job addressing their needs. I will say, the New England Patriots, ha, ha, ha. I'm going to laugh at you. The Patriots absolutely blew it. Who was it? Cole Strange in the first round? Second round picks there. Let me pull up their draft. It was so embarrassing. When I read this off to you, I think you're going to die laughing. The New England Patriots, in order. You ready for this? Yes. Cole Strange in the first round. Second round, Tyquan Thornton. They passed on Sky Moore, I believe, and one more receiver. I forget the name. Marcus Jones, corner out of Houston. All right, third round pick. I'm not going to crap all over it. They went secondary again. Pierre Strong out of San Diego State. Bailey Zappi in the fourth round.
Yeah.
People are lauding this move. Why? You drafted Mac Jones. What are you, looking to get a strong backup quarterback? That's what you did? You know who you could have gotten at 137 that was still on the board that would have helped your football team? Unbelievable. The Patriots have been very disappointing in my eyes. I'm just going to laugh at them. And to everybody that tells me, I trust Bill Belichick more than you, fuck you. That's fine. You can trust Bill Belichick. I am telling you, the Patriots had one of the worst drafts in NFL history, or not NFL history, but at least one of their worst drafts in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Awful, awful, awful.
That Bailey Zappi pick, That was a big question mark. I seen that and I said, oh my God, what the hell are you doing here? Bailey Zappi, that was a weird one. I laughed out loud when I seen that as well. I thought, there goes Sam Howell, because right before they came on, Ian Rappaport was saying how they're going to get a quarterback. And so there goes Sam Howell, and they go get Bailey Zappi. And then, like you're saying, getting a quarterback, if you just got Mac Jones, it was a weird pick. Yeah, they've not had a great draft. That, as well as I feel like the Bears didn't have a good draft, too.
Ooh,
they kind of
fifth
sucked.
round.
Obviously,
Fifth round till they address the offensive line with a rookie quarterback. That's embarrassing.
Yep.
Well, good for the Lions. Aidan Hutchinson and Josh Paschal will send the Bears their regards. It's good for the... Look, I'm okay with teams in the division messing up. The Packers, I thought, underwhelming in the first round. Quay Walker, they win defense, both picks, fine. I can respect it. I don't have to agree with it. And I'm not going to agree at all with their first two picks being defensive players. And then, of course, they get Christian Watson at 34. Interesting. Was it 34, I believe? Yeah, they traded up with Minnesota at 34 to get Christian Watson. That's just unbelievable. I think Belichick botched it. I think Green Bay. You know what? Let me not give credit to those teams for botching it. I'll tell you who messed up a majority of these teams' boards, Mike. Brad Holmes trading up to 12. Motherfucked every team that wanted a wide receiver. Kansas City, the Packers, the Eagles. That's the second straight year, by the way. Brad Holmes has absolutely fisted the Eagles. This is, again, great trade. Great. It's not a good trade. It's a great trade. Even if the player doesn't work out, Mike, you moved up 20 spots in the first round for a third-round pick.
Yeah.
That
How can you get
is
upset
unheard
about
of.
that?
Unheard of.
How can you get upset about that? Literally, the Saints did a trade, I think it was a year ago or the year before. They moved up left spots. They're starting at 27. They had to give up a first-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and something else. That we give up a third and we just move and swap twos. I take that all day. And like you're saying, do you really want to see Jameson Williams in a Green Bay Packer uniform? Because we didn't get him. Maybe they would have got him, and that would have tore us up.
Absolutely,
like
that would have been a terrifying pick.
Terrifying, 100% terrifying. There
I
we
will
go.
say, go ahead.
Getting destroyed again. That's all I'm saying.
I will say that for everybody defending Bill Belichick, I am going to go over the last 5 draft classes and players that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, are good pieces or absolute hits. Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson last year, good job, Bill. That's all you got. The year prior, 2020, nothing. The year prior, 2019, Chase Winovich, didn't work out. Damian Harris, nice, good piece. Nothing else, though. They missed on N'Keal Harry. The year prior, they completely missed on every single pick. And the one guy that's actually producing is no longer even on the team, Sony Michel and Baxton Berrios. 2017, nothing. 2016, Jacoby Brissett, backup quarterback. Congratulations, Bill. Stop this. Stop this just because he's such a brilliant coach that you can't criticize him. He is well past his prime, and I promise you, the New England Patriots will move on from Bill Belichick in the next 3 to 5 years, and he will not have won a division. Not because he's not a brilliant coach and that he can't scheme and win you games. The NFL is moving past him. He's really botching a lot of the draft picks, and to take Cole Strange at 29, it's embarrassing. It's downright embarrassing. I am going to criticize the Patriots. Congratulations, 6 Super Bowls with Bill Belichick. That's phenomenal. That's the past, and in the recent history and recent future, he hasn't shown anything that tells me, wow, he's coming back. He's coming back, Mike. He's not.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. Yeah, I think he's past his prime as well. Starting to go down a little bit. Josh McDaniels leaves. Them bringing back Matt Patricia and potentially him running the offense. I don't know what he is on, but if it's that draft cocaine that you have, you need to pass it over here because that is a straight odd decision and crazy. And I tell you what, you can criticize the Patriots just because they have won a lot in the past. Doesn't mean you cannot criticize them in the present. I mean, there's so many teams that's done very well in the past. Just say, well, I did well in the past. That means I can't criticize. Yes, you can. It can happen. And guess what? They've made some questionable decisions, and it's occurring right now. They went all in on free agency last year. They got to the playoffs, and guess what happened? The Buffalo Bills. So they can be criticized by anyone.
Fair enough. Well, Mike, you know what? It's getting around that time. It's almost 6:30. We'll be wrapping up very soon. Probably at 6:30, we're going to wrap things up. I will say, shout out to, again, the Detroit Lions front office for the moves they made. I thought it was very good. For everybody criticizing the Packers in the second round, I would criticize with caution. They drafted Devontae Adams, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver. They've drafted some damn good wide receivers in the second round. They have a history and a knack of doing it. I would be cautious in criticizing them, although I still believe they didn't do enough for Aaron Rodgers. Having said that, Mike, trending forward in the NFC North, I don't think there is a team trending higher than the Detroit Lions. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. We've done really good moves, and it continued to show that. I think the Detroit Lions are trending in the right direction. And we're not just talking about this year, folks. Everyone thinks, we got to win this year. No, I'm talking about for the long term of this football team. We're trending in the right direction. That's the most important part. Continued success, not just success. We need to get continued success, and with the moves that they're making, that's what's happening. We're developing young players. When you develop young players, when veterans leave, you don't need to overpay them. The young players set in, and you continue to go on in that direction. We got the coaches. We got the front office. I love what's taking place. You look at what Minnesota's doing, what Chicago's doing, and you know the future when Aaron Rodgers is gone out of Green Bay, there's going to be a slump. The NFC North, I tell you what, the Lions' future looks bright and potentially finally winning it in the next couple years.
If I were to give you a breakdown, at least a ranking, I would go the Lions are trending most at number 1. Number 2, I would still give the edge to the Vikings. Number 3, the Packers. And the 4, of course, the Bears. I'm not sure what to make of the Bears. If I'm a Bears fan, and you know what? I know a few. I'm going to get them on the show eventually. I want to know what their mindset is, because protecting Justin Fields, protecting Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, the young guys around the league, any young quarterback, that is priority 1. Always, always, always. The Jets made an emphasis on it with Elijah Vera Tucker last year. You have to have an offensive line. It doesn't need to be top 5, top 10. A competent offensive line where your quarterback isn't getting mauled. Yes, there are exceptions. Joe Burrow can overcome it all and get you to the Super Bowl. He is on pace right now to be a Hall of Fame type player. There's not many of them sticking around in the NFL every year. They don't come out every year. I would caution people on that. Protect your quarterbacks. The Bears, I believe, are in for a tough year. I could argue they're going to be picking in the top 3, top 5 this year. They're not going to be a good football team. So if I'm looking ahead to the schedule, I think there are games to be won against every team in the division this year. 2 against the Bears, at least split against the Vikings and the Packers. It wouldn't surprise me. Again, the Lions are going to be able to win football games, Mike. I don't believe this is Kool-Aid. I don't believe the fan base should be cautious. I was the one saying this was a 3-win football team before last year. I'm going to be the one saying 6 to 9 wins this year, and I don't think I'm far off.
Yeah, last year I was saying this is a 2 to a 5-win football team, and if everything and the gods prayed upon the Lions, they could potentially get 6 because the talent just was not there, and you're in a year 1 rebuild. Now the talent is here, and the direction is looking bright. We're becoming a physical football team. We've been finesse. Like you're saying about the Chicago Bears, you got to protect your young quarterback. Jacksonville, what the hell are you doing? Chicago, what the hell are you doing? Take a playbook out of the Lions. We had Matthew Stafford getting sacked left and right. Minnesota Vikings dropping 10 on him. You got to be able to do that. You can ruin your quarterback. It can happen, and then you invested all that capital to get your franchise guy, and this dude's out of the league or is a backup in a couple years, just like Mitchell Trubisky. So it's shocking to see how these teams don't learn, but hell, I'm glad they're not learning in the NFC North because I want to beat up on the Bears, Vikings, and Packers.
Fair enough. Well, I will leave all of you along with Mike with a simple message. Very well done to the Detroit Lions front office, Brad Holmes. Hell, you know what? Even Sheila Hamp, Chris Spielman, the entire boardroom. This is how a franchise operates. And if I can leave Detroit Lions fans with this, I am not going to take it easy on the team, and I will continue to be an asshole whether you like it or not. But what I will say is, you give me reason to praise you, I will. You give me reason to criticize you, I'm going to criticize you. And at the end of the day, Mike, Saturday evening, I'm going to be driving home tonight thinking, this is a GM that stacked good decisions upon good decisions for 2 consecutive drafts. I can get behind that. I can support it. And we'll see what happens on the football field come September. They have, obviously, what's the word I'm looking for? They have the, what the hell's the thing called? They're following them around all off season. Hard Knocks.
HBO Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks, there you go. Yep, Hard Knocks. So you have Hard Knocks to look forward to. Interesting to see how they communicate what inside of Allen Park looks like. There's that to look forward to. But again, at the end of the day, if I were to give this draft a grade, it would be an A-. And it's not an A for one simple reason. Jameson Williams is coming off an ACL tear. Whether I think he can recover or not is irrelevant. To be fair, I think it's an A- draft. A on the edge rushers, A- on the wide receiver, A on the safety. This is a good draft. Good job to Brad Holmes and the scouting department. I think they did a good job, Mike.
Man, I guess great minds think alike here, because I'm going with an A-. Apparently, that's why I changed my name to Mike Beydoun. So yeah, I look at it. I look at it and I see you can't go wrong with the Aidan Hutchinson pick. The Jameson Williams trade up, the injury, like you're saying, that knocked it a little bit, but looks like he'll probably be good to go. Going defense, filling holes on edge, linebacker, secondary, Kerby Joseph, that was an A+ for me. Such a great pick. And then in the back end here, getting a corner and a linebacker. That's a good draft. Really good. We addressed the holes that we needed to address. And how many times can you say that in a draft? Not a lot.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you hanging out and talking about the Lions draft. Can't thank you enough. Would love to return the favor, of course, and maybe get you on later this week on the morning show for sure.
Hey, you got it, man. Anytime. That's what we do. Have fun. Get on the morning show. Just going to need to get a Rip It there, get a Red Bull, and get that wings flowing.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you again. Can't thank you enough. Thank you to Fletcher for coming out and producing the show, of course. And thank all of you for hopping on today. If you haven't already, drop a like on the YouTube video. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe not only to Woodward Sports, but also to Lions Talk with Micro. Mike, very important you do that. Show him some love as well. Thank him for coming on the broadcast for the last hour and a half. And I'll leave you guys with this one more time. A successful draft for the Detroit Lions. Aggressiveness, unpredictability, words you are not familiar with, and these are words we associate with some of the better franchises in the NFL. Can the Lions develop into that? We'll have to wait and see. But as of April 30th, as of April 30th, 2022, the Lions have stacked 2 consecutive drafts where I can look at them and say they are operating different than what you have seen over the last 58 years. So everybody, take care. We'll see you first thing Monday morning on the Morning Woodward Show. For Mike, myself, Woodward Sports, we're out of here.